Hey there, Internet. Outlaw Curtis here from HoldSquare.com, coming to you with our weekly podcast, HoldSquare Nation. And as always, we talk about the world of video games as well as some other stuff that's going on in our lives, whether it's the passing of Prince we talked about a while back, pop culture stuff, comic books we'll get into a little bit. So anyway, as always, I'm joined by Brett Weiss and Jordan here, as always. Now, Jordan, you look like you've had a rough morning. You just don't look the same that you normally look when you've been on the podcast.
He obviously had a breast reduction.
I feel a little manly today.
And your voice, you kind of got a frog in your throat, so to speak.
Yeah, a little deeper.
Well, those that know Jordan knows that she's big time. Okay, she's big time. She hasn't done a podcast with us now in a few weeks. Her appearance fee has gone up to a point we can't afford it anymore.
She's too big time.
So we've got to fill in here. So for a few minutes, we're going to talk to Derek Morrison. As you can tell, we're not shooting where we normally shoot, which is in Brett's game room. This week we're shooting on location with our very first official sponsor, 8176 Designs, right here in Hurst, Texas. And Derek has been working frantically for the last few weeks helping us put together an online store and stuff like that. Derek, I know you've just opened this location up, in the last few months? So how's it been going so far here in your location?
Well, it's been busy. Like you said, we've been here for about 2 months, and just with you guys coming aboard and trying to get you guys up and going. I mean, yeah, with other clientele that we've had, it's been really busy. It's been really fun. Definitely love working for myself. Don't have to worry about a boss. Don't have to worry about calling in sick if I don't want to be here. I don't want to be here.
And how long have you been doing this? Shirts and logos and
I've been doing this for about 20 years.
Okay.
So I'm self-taught with everything, all the graphics. I am a master at the Adobe Illustrator, thank you. I am a master illustrator, so I've taken all the tests with that. I'm currently working on Photoshop and others, so all the designs
while you're talking, I'm gonna get up and actually show this shirt because you made me this shirt today. This is another shirt that's gonna be available, and you've actually got my name on the sleeve here. This is really awesome. You can see right here. This is a new Reaper shirt. It's got my name, which everyone can get their name on the sleeve, just like this is with the HoldSquare button. This is now like my new favorite shirt. This thing is awesome.
Yeah,
it is very cool.
It's just it's one of the newer designs. I know that you had, when you first came to me, you said that we're all old school gaming. We got a lot of old school gamers, from the 80s and 90s, and I wanted to start off with some of the newer school and the newer fresh feel to kind of get it out there. Mm-hmm. We're now going to start taking it to the old school level. So, now we're going to start getting, Brett involved with a lot of his old school gaming stuff and shirts and things like that.
How come anytime the word old comes up, my name?
Everyone points at you. Yeah.
he told me to say it. So,
well, Derek was cool enough to make me this shirt with my 100 Greatest book on there. So it's awesome.
And that shirt looks amazing, and it's done off of just a photograph. I mean, it wasn't even like done in Illustrator or anything. Nope. I mean, it looks amazing. It's a great photo.
Well, I'm definitely going to wear it to the next convention I do. For sure.
Well, that's great. Well, hey, we've got a lot of stuff we're going to talk about today, and we'll go ahead and get to it. But, Derek, thanks again for having us here today. Yeah. This is really cool. We've got some of the designs hanging up back here that you've already done for us. And you said the shop is already up at 8176designs.com, right?
The website is up and going. There are 5 official shirts that are there. You've got the one that Curtis is wearing here. We also have the one that's right here on the table. Actually, both of these guys are up with the shirts that we have.
Really cool.
So
super cool.
You've got 5 designs. You have the option to get the PS ID tag on there. Mm-hmm. If you want it, you can have it on the sleeve, or we can actually put it across the back as like a name tag. Or if you don't want it, you don't have to have it.
And the shirts are available through HoldSquare.com or through your website?
They're going to be through my website.
We're gonna link it on the front page of our website as well, so you can click merch store and it'll take you to their website. But you can go directly to 8176designs.com, and then you can click on the HoldSquare tab, right?
Exactly, yeah.
Show all the HoldSquare stuff.
Right. We have a specific tab especially for HoldSquare gaming.
Cool.
Basically, all you got to do is click on HoldSquare, and then there's a little drop-down menu that says shop. Just click on that. We're going to continue to be adding new and old school designs, as well as stickers, phone cases. I know I created a couple phone cases for you.
Yeah, the Outlaw Curtis cell phone case.
Right.
I love that.
We have an official sponsor. I feel so legitimate.
I know. This is totally getting like super legit here. So
yeah, we want to get you guys on the map, not just with the merchandise, but just get you guys on the map in any way that we can help out. we will. I mean, you guys have had a lot of bad experiences with some of the other not to be named companies, but you know, we want to make sure that we're giving you fresh designs that look really good, that people are going to love wearing. You know, that way if they come to the conventions and everything, they all can wear them, they all can rock them, and they all can say, hey, we're part of a really good community.
And then we've got stuff we mentioned the other day on Facebook where we're working about ID cards and maybe dog tags and all these different cool things that people can be really proud to own and wear and have HoldSquare and have Reapers on them and stuff like that. So.
Exactly. I mean, we do a lot of merchandise. I mean, we have a 36-page catalog that is going to be out within this week. So if anybody would like a copy of it to see some of the merchandise that we do, it's not just HoldSquare. It's actually going to be just generic. I mean, flip-flops, koozies, stadium seats, I mean, puzzles, you name it, posters,
wall
mugs,
clocks,
Thongs? No thongs?
Eventually.
There's not much room to print on those. What are you gonna do?
Well, we'll get you the first edition. Of
Okay.
that
Yeah,
one, so,
you can be the beta tester on that.
But yeah, we got a 36-page catalog coming out, and we're just super excited about doing it. So you know, any posters, you know, I know you guys can get screenshots and everything off of the, you know, the stuff.
Posters of a screenshot of a big accomplishment on
Exactly.
PlayStation or something, just all kinds of stuff. So
Very cool.
Well, thanks a lot, man. Thanks for joining us here.
Yeah.
Really appreciate it. Thanks for letting us shoot in here today. This is really cool. Kind of a change of pace. Brett's game room, as you can imagine, the smell is questionable. So it's nice to get some fresh air in here.
I kind of figured.
I can take a deep breath and exhale, so it's good. So thanks a lot for being here, man.
You guys
We
are always
appreciate it.
welcome to come anytime.
All right, Derek.
We'll have to
appreciate
do
it.
that again. Thanks,
All right,
man.
guys.
All right.
Now get out of our podcast.
That's right. We got video game stuff we got to
Yeah.
talk about here. So obviously we got a lot of stuff to talk about today, Brett. This is another one of those weeks where working on the agenda, we're looking at, you know, a 4-hour show. So we're
Right.
going to try to condense it into about an hour, but a lot of stuff going on this week. Uncharted 4 is releasing tonight at midnight. Maybe you could make a case the biggest PlayStation game of the year. Battleborn and Overwatch are both. One's in beta, one released this past week. A ton of Reapers are into it. I saw Captain America the other night, which I've got to talk about. I've got some opinions on it.
Which is more of a Civil War movie than with just Captain America's name on it.
Yeah, it's
right?
a Civil War. It's really more of an Avengers movie. To
Right,
me,
an
it
Avengers
should, yeah, it
movie,
should
right.
be Avengers Civil War, really. But we'll
Yeah.
talk about that.
That's what I meant.
But first of all, yeah, the last few weeks, or the last week or so, last few days, we've had some pretty big. Now, I've already told you my stance on made-up holidays in general,
Yeah.
where I feel like we're trying to come up with 365 holidays so we
Right,
can
a
buy
card
gift
for
cards.
every occasion.
Yeah, a gift card for every day of the week,
Right.
essentially. And so yesterday we had Mother's Day, so which is great, and I'm not saying we shouldn't have Mother's Day.
that one's
It's
legit.
That's Mother's Day.
Yeah.
Although, honestly, I feel like shouldn't kind of every day be Mother's Day. Really, I mean,
It is,
shouldn't
but
that
it's a good
be-
day to highlight. Like yesterday, we had fajitas at my brother's house, you know, so it was
Well, fajitas,
awesome. and
that's a big Mother's Day tradition.
We honored my mother with some flowers and just hugs and stuff. It was great.
Well, as you know, Brett, I walk a very fine line. I walk on the precipice of sanity and insanity.
Oh, okay.
And it's the genius. It's the curse of genius that I have to live with. We've talked about you can't turn it off.
Yeah.
It goes 24/7.
Genius. Yeah.
But one of the things that I was yesterday, as I was looking at a Mother's Day card, looking at the Mother's Day card section, I ran across a section there that says "from the cat" and "from the dog."
Right.
And I felt the hard drive in my brain skip and feel like I was going into reboot mode, like I was
Right.
shutting down. And people on Facebook are posting about they don't have kids, but they have a dog. So
Yeah.
happy Mother's Day to me because my dog wished me happy Mother's Day
Right.
and stuff. Now, I know you have pets, right?
I do have pets, and they do get me cards.
Do they?
Yeah.
Now, how do you feel about your pet and your dog? Do you consider them children?
No.
There are legitimately. Do you know there are people in this world that legitimately consider their pets children?
Well, you know, some people can't have children, so I'm going to give them a pass.
Okay, I am not a heartless person.
Right.
Okay, I have a big heart. So if there are people that can't have children, I get that. It's not as much about DNA because people adopt children, right?
Right.
And they feel the same about them
Right.
as they would feel about a birth child. It is about what you would do for that. And here's the simple test. Here's how you can find out if you are insane or not. The way you can find out if you're insane is if you take your dog or your cat to the vet, okay? The vet says, "I'm sorry, Brett, she needs a heart transplant." And by some strange coincidence, your human heart is a match. Now we're going to suspend disbelief here.
So
okay?
if you're willing to
I don't
give
know.
that up,
if
you're-
you are willing to die and let us
Right.
take your beating heart out of your chest and put it in your cat, you can call that cat your baby or your fur. The term now is fur baby,
Right.
which is driving me crazy. So you would literally die for that entity, right? So now
I wouldn't, but yeah.
if you can't and you wouldn't, it's a pet,
Right.
Okay, which is
Okay.
great. You
That's
can
a
love
good,
you can love a pet,
Right.
You can love and appreciate a pet. They can mean something to you when they pass away. You shed
Right.
tears, the whole thing.
Sure.
But there is a different level, and if you are a parent for real, if you have kids, you probably understand what I'm talking about.
Right.
That it's not on that
Sure.
same level.
I would
So-
take a bullet for my kids, but I wouldn't for my dogs. Or
No,
my cat.
no, you'd stand back and be
Right.
like,
No, I'd hold them up in front of me.
right. Use them as a
Right.
use them as a shield, right?
Yeah.
Use them as a meat shield. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Then it's not your child.
Right.
It's a pet.
I can go with that.
Which is great. Okay.
Yeah.
So anyway, if you're out there calling a pet your child, you need to stop, please. I'm begging you, because this is literally driving me insane. So anyway,
Keep doing it.
Are we on the same page on this?
Pretty much, yeah.
Are we okay?
Yeah.
Because I grew up and had a dog.
Here's my theory. If you don't have money to buy a card, you can't give cards on holidays. So no cards should be from pets.
Yeah, no, exactly. The cat cannot purchase a card. They have to be able to choose that card. It has to be personal from
Right.
that cat.
And they
if
have to
it's
get a
not-
job to get money to buy the card.
Right, exactly, which they can't do
My
any of
cat's
those
way
things.
too lazy for to
Yeah,
get a
he
job.
just lays around. He
Yeah,
just lays
pretty
around
much.
and eats
Yeah.
craps everywhere and
Pretty
stuff.
much.
So,
That's about it.
All right, so aside from Mother's Day, which Mother's Day was lovely. I love Mother's Day. Mother's
Yeah.
Day is great.
Moms rock.
I've got a mom. I wasn't whipped up in a test tube. We were all, we were all given live birth for the most part. So my mom is wonderful. And then I know several people in my life that are wonderful mothers. So it's always good to bring attention to that.
My mom is awesome. She put up with all my weird, growing up, I was a big Kiss fan. She let me plaster.
I've never met your mom. I would love
She's
to.
super
just
cool. She let me
see-
plaster Kiss posters all over my room without, complaining about it. She
Right.
let me, make decisions and like things that I like without making me feel bad about it.
I just feel like your mother
let
must be
me-
a special, very just gifted individual. Very
yeah, to put
smart,
up with
very
a special
strong.
needs child
very-
like myself.
right.
Yeah. She had a lot of patience. Let's just put it that way. She had a lot of patience.
Well, the other big holiday this last week, or one of the other big holidays, was May the 4th, right?
Mhm.
And as a Star Wars fan, May the 4th be with you.
Yeah.
That was kind of co-opted a few years ago and has become a big kind of Star Wars day.
Yeah, with social media, it really blew up.
Yeah, social media has really helped it to catch on.
Yeah.
And all these different websites and everything do all kinds of cool things. They have sales on Star Wars stuff and Star Wars games and things like that. And then, of course, May 5th is the big Revenge of the 5th day. That's
all right.
that's the Sith day. So May the 4th is the kind of the Jedi holiday, and then Revenge of the 5th is the big Sith holiday. So how did you celebrate? Did you
What day was that? Day of the week wise? The 4th?
well today's the 9th. So yeah, it was.
'Cause I don't know.
was
I
it-
don't
was it
remember what I did
Tuesday?
May 4th. I
Was it
worked.
Tuesday?
I didn't do anything Star Warsy. Sorry.
You didn't do anything. You didn't
I had-
watch. You didn't watch the movie.
I have to give up my
or-
geek card. I just worked and dealt
The
with
4th
things.
was actually Wednesday, so you
Okay.
didn't pop in the
I worked.
DVD or anything.
No, I didn't do anything.
All right. Well, I watched the show.
Here, let me
and
get
then
my geek card out of my wallet and give it
Yeah,
back.
I'm gonna have to cut it up right,
Right.
in front of the camera. So, but anyway, so we had those, and one of the cool kind of tie-ins is that there were a couple of press releases that went out on May 4th
Mm-hmm.
regarding Star Wars games. Now, Stig Asmussen, you talked about God of War last week.
Mm-hmm.
Stig Asmussen used to be with Santa Monica, worked on several of the God of War games, and was the game director for 3, which was
Right.
one of the greatest games.
In other
ever.
words, he's a stud.
He is a stud, and he's working on a brand new game, Star Wars related game. And then also Amy Hennig is working on a new Star Wars game, which she left Naughty Dog a couple years ago. And we're going to talk about Uncharted 4 in just a minute. But the cool thing about Lucasfilm being sold now and being bought by Disney, and a lot of people are like, oh, it's owned by Disney now. The quality's going to go in the toilet.
Right.
all that
People
stuff.
pictured like R2D2 with Mickey ears and
Right,
stuff, and just
right.
cartoonish, silly. And it's like no,
Disney
they're
is
a
not
smart
stupid.
company.
They're
They
not,
know how to
Right.
put segment their
Well, the
properties.
difference is, and you can speak to this from a collector standpoint, is that it's really cool now, and I'm saying this as I'm holding a Darth Vader pin, okay, and I'm drinking out of my Darth Vader cup here, which a few years ago, before Lucasfilm was purchased, it was a lot harder to find Star Wars stuff. Now, you could say from a collector standpoint, maybe the market is flooded with it, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
But the stuff that is still rare is still valuable.
Yeah.
I mean, a 1977 lunchbox in mint condition is still worth a lot of money. This
Right.
doesn't devalue that stuff. It just makes it more available for everybody else. You know?
Just the fluffy, kitschy stuff is still available for moms and kids and
Right.
people like you.
And people like me, you know,
Right.
keep in my car.
The fluff stuff.
Right, the fluff stuff. But
Yeah.
but I see it as nothing but a good thing. And like you said, Disney's not stupid.
Well, people are already saying that George Lucas at $4 billion for Star Wars.
Right.
He way undersold it. You
Oh
know,
yeah,
because-
that he could have easily sold it for more
Yeah.
than that. Sure.
So.
But he's
I
probably
don't
doing
feel-
okay.
I don't feel sorry for him.
I think
Yeah.
he hasn't missed any meals from any
Right,
interviews
yeah.
I've seen with him.
He's not like me at the grocery store that has to choose between, ground turkey or, paying my
like
rent.
the store brand or the
Right,
the
exactly.
off brand, or the
Right.
name brand. He probably gets a name brand cereal.
Yeah, he just buys whatever.
name brand minute rice.
And it's not even him at
stuff.
the grocery store. It's his,
Oh,
one of his.
He has not walked into a
One
grocery
of his
store
slaves.
in 20 years. I don't think there's any question about that. So, anyway, so that was a really good one.
Mm-hmm.
And then also, Free Comic Book Day was last week.
Yes, it was. And when you mention the word free, I'm all over it. We all know what a cheap
So just
bastard
free
I am.
anything.
Yeah,
Insert
pretty much.
here,
pretty
just
much.
whatever.
Gonorrhea, no. But
you're going to stay away from that.
yeah,
though?
but
That's your position on
most free
gonorrhea?
things, I'm all over it. And so what I did, Free Comic Book Day was Saturday. I was very busy on Saturday. I only had time to make it to one store, but the store I did go was Collected in Keller, which is north,
Right.
sort of north of Fort Worth.
North Fort Worth, yeah.
Yeah, and Collected, it's run by a really good friend of mine, Ronnie. Really cool store. They gave away free comics, 4 free comics to each customer.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what some people don't realize, Free Comic Book Day, they think, oh, you go in there and they're just going to give you a grungy old comic from the 80s out of their back room that's, wrinkled up, and they're just going to throw it at you. No, publishers actually create new comics for this, like Disney, DC, Marvel, Archie, all these companies create.
I didn't realize they created new
Yeah,
ones
they create
for this
new
event.
comics for this event. Now, some of it's like repros, sort of, where they reprint a recent popular issue and slap a Free Comic Book Day label on it. But comics these days are, $3-4 a piece.
Yeah.
And so they're a little, you go in and get 4 or 5 comics.
And when
talking
you
a little bit of
were a
money.
kid, they were probably, what, a nickel?
I don't go back quite that far, but they were, 25, 35 cents when I was a little kid.
When
getting
you were a
comics.
kid, they paid you to take the comic books. That's how cheap they were, wasn't it?
Right. But I remember when comics, they were, 25 cents, and they'd bump them up to 30, then 35, and I was sweating it. When there were 30 cents, I could get 3 for $1, including tax. Well, then they kept going. Well, it really sucked when they bumped them up to 50 cents, because then I couldn't get 2 for $1 anymore. They went over $1 with tax.
Oh, right.
So that was a real bummer.
That was a big line
yeah,
of
big time.
demarcation, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I had to start stealing then. No, I didn't.
Did you become a comic book hustler? Just add it to your
No.
list of hustling?
No, but I did buy and sell and all that stuff. So I guess in a way I
Of-
did.
of course you
Not
did.
anything dishonest, but I did, work out some trades that worked in my favor. But anyway, so Free Comic
When are you
Book
gonna
Day.
write? When are you gonna write a book about all your hustling? Just like hustlers' tips from a from
Well,
a
that'd be like a
hustler?
confession sheet, and I'm not going to do that.
Right? Do the statute of
But so Free
limitations
Comic
thing.
Book Day is awesome. So you get all these cool comics for free, and of course the stores expect you to maybe look around a little bit.
Yeah,
perhaps.
they're hoping it's a lost leader in a way.
Yeah,
to
and they
get
really,
you in there.
and the main reason they really want to introduce kids and parents to comics again, because nowadays most comic buyers are well into their 20s, 30s, and 40s, whereas in the 50s, 40s when comics were really huge, they were almost exclusively bought by kids, and now they're adults. So one big thing, and what I picked up on Free Comic Book Day was comics for kids. I got Archie #1. You can tell it's a sort of a different art style than the old Archie, but that's written by Mark Waid, who was an excellent comic book writer. He wrote a lot of key issues, The Flash, Daredevil, a bunch of great stuff. I bought, or not bought, I got for free
Yeah.
DC Superhero Girls. I got Bongo Free for All with The Simpsons.
Mm-hmm.
And I got what is essentially H.P. Lovecraft for kids. Now, I don't know if you ever read any H.P. Lovecraft.
No.
Call of Cthulhu and all that stuff. Great horror. That's partly why I'm kind of odd, is because I read a lot of weird stuff growing
Yeah,
up.
it's all making sense.
Anyway, so I got 4 really cool kids comics on Free Comic Book Day.
So what happens if kids are not buying comic books now, which they're not?
Right.
What happens when guys in your 60s like you end up dying? What then
60s,
what?
huh? Well,
What happens then?
Well, that's the
what happens when that generation goes away?
That's one thing. That's one reason they do Free Comic Book Day, is to to
Try to
introduce
revamp
kids
it
to
and
comics. Now, I
introduce-
thought you might rag me about getting kids comics. you
They
know?
do all look essentially like coloring books. It's really what they look like. That's the first thing that jumps in my
Well,
mind. They look like
they
comic-
did have a lot of superhero offerings and, edgier comics for older readers, but I picked all kids comics. And these days, I've read thousands of comics throughout my life, tons of stuff, edgy stuff, superhero stuff and everything, forever.
Mm-hmm.
I actually kind of like to read kids comics nowadays because at the end of a hard day when I've been working and writing and researching all day, at the end of the day, it's just kind of cool to kick back with a done-in-one. Most kid comics are just one story and one issue.
It's all
You don't have to-
self-contained. You don't have to know the backstory.
Yeah, you don't have to follow this complex web of stories over several issues, and you can just kick back.
So it's
and-
kind of like Minecraft is in gaming, where I get on Minecraft sometimes because it's so simple, it's self-contained, you don't have to know all the lore and stuff, and you get in there after playing Dark Souls
It's
or
just
Battleborn.
relaxing.
It's just relaxing and just kind of cleanses the palate.
At the last comic book convention I went to, I bought this giant stack of Richie Rich comics for 50 cents a piece. And every night I'll just read a couple issues, and they're just super relaxing. Hey, I grew up. I can blame nostalgia. I grew up reading Richie Rich, as a poor kid.
Right.
And so
Just dreamed
it
of what
was
it would be
awesome.
like to be
Yeah.
Richie Rich. Huh? What
Yeah,
a great
so
life.
Got my free comics. And speaking of comics, at the end of this episode, my show and tell, I have got some amazing comic books to show you. Some jaw-dropping stuff. If you're a comic book guy and know about all the key issues and stuff, I got some really killer.
Kind of a little tease. The shirt may
Yeah,
have
the
something
shirt
to
will have
do with
something
it.
to do with it, right.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, other stuff that's going on this week that we've got to get to. Oh,
Real quick, I forgot to. I was going to talk a little bit about the history of Free Comic Book Day.
okay.
Just real quick, Joe Field with Flying Color Comics in where was that located? Anyway, he was a retailer. Joe Field with Flying Color Comics. God, where is that store? Oh well, look it up. In 2001, yeah, he got the idea. He was sitting in his shop. He wrote for a magazine, and he was kind of brainstorming article ideas. And he looked out his window and he saw a Baskin Robbins, and there was a huge line at Baskin Robbins. He was like, "What in the world's going on?" Well, he figured out it was free scoop night. People could get a free scoop of ice cream at Baskin Robbins, and it's $1 or $2, right?
Right. Yeah.
But people will wait in line for that.
Yeah.
And so he's like, wow, that's really incredible. So he thought of the idea for Free Comic Book Day. So he wrote a column about that, and then in 2002 it became a thing. And most years they put it in May around the release of a new hot video game movie, first week of May.
Right.
And this year it tied into the
Civil
War movie.
Yeah, Captain America Civil War. Which
So
we're gonna
yeah,
talk
so
about
Joe
in a little
Field
bit.
thought of a really cool idea, and it's taken hold nationwide. Most comic book stores, publishers will offer these free comics 12 cents to 50 cents a piece to give the retailer a break, and it's sort of a loss leader.
Yeah.
Where to drive traffic. So it's a really cool idea, and it's a great community event.
Well, it obviously has some success, or they wouldn't keep doing it. So it's obviously
Yeah, and the
accomplishing
stores,
what they
not
want,
only do
so.
they give away comics, most stores will have creator events. Creators will come and sign
Sign
autographs.
autographs and
They'll
stuff.
have other giveaways. Some of them will have cookouts and live music and all kinds of stuff. And one cool thing, one reason I'm talking about Free Comic Book today is not only you're thinking, oh, bummer, I missed out on it. Well, go to your local shops early this week and ask them if they have any leftover. A lot of shops will order extras, maybe to give out for Halloween later in the year, or for customers that missed out. So if you go in and ask, they might have a selection, that you might still be able to get some free comics.
I'm actually going to stop by a comic book store on the way home and check it out.
Might as well.
I
yeah.
am. Well, one of the things that's been going around social media the last few days that really made me laugh, and this podcast is watched by people all over the world. Obviously, in HoldSquare, we've got members all over the world, 13 different countries.
Obviously, people with way too much time on their hands.
way too much free time, expendable time on their hands. But one thing we're going through in America right now was really described well by a meme that I saw on Facebook the other day. It had a little kid, and he was holding a metal butter knife, just like you get out of your kitchen drawer. And it said, trying to choose between Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton is like trying to decide which outlet to stick this in, the top one or the bottom one. Because either one is not a good idea.
Yeah, we're screwed either way.
We're screwed either way. So that's a big debate that's going on in this
Basically,
country now.
a crook or a kook.
Yes,
is that what we have to decide
something
between?
like that.
Right.
Yeah, so I am going to have a big writing campaign for Outlaw Curtis, so I'm kind of hoping for that.
You for president,
Right,
huh?
exactly. Dude, I would be an amazing president, but we'll save that for another episode.
That'd be like putting a wet sword in the socket.
Right. But the other big debate that's going on in the gaming world right now is Battleborn versus Overwatch. This is something that's been brewing for a long time. Obviously, Battleborn is a big first-person shooter multiplayer game by Gearbox, which we talked about at length.
Right.
Then Overwatch is being put out by Blizzard. And this past week, this battle is kind of coming to a head a little bit because Battleborn came out this last week, and it is a phenomenal game.
That's what I
phenomenal
hear.
game. It's really awesome. I've been
Right.
playing it several times this last week. It's really a great game. Very fun. 25 different playable characters.
Right.
And so much of the fun is going through and playing this game and trying every single character. And this one has melee double swords, and this one has a big Gatling gun, and this one has a pistol with this kind of ability. And they all play so differently. And just getting in there with a group of friends, either playing through the story or playing the multiplayer matches, is just a tremendous amount of fun. Gearbox has really outdone themselves. If you've played Borderlands before, you're going to feel at home with some of the controls and some of the way the characters function, and the art style is still that anime kind of style with some cartoon type of graphics. It's a little bit different than Borderlands, but still you can tell a lot of the same people were involved in
Yeah.
it. And then also the same week, which some people think it's a coincidence. Personally, I don't believe in coincidence,
Right.
that Overwatch decided to launch their beta the same
timing.
week as the Battleborn.
Right.
With basically the same day that Battleborn launched, the Overwatch beta
Hey,
came
the
out.
video game industry wouldn't be, I mean, the same without, company rivals.
A
You
little
know,
bit of-
Sega does what Nintendo don't. I mean, you know,
right. That's
yeah,
a great
it just
one. I've
comes
heard
with
that
the
forever.
yeah,
Right,
Atari
so-
versus Intellivision. You know,
Right,
you got all
right.
that.
So Overwatch, the beta came out, which I played that a couple of times, and I've really enjoyed that too. I think they're similar enough to where they will feel close to each other for a lot of people, but you are going to get some people that feel like, well, this one's a little bit more my style. I think there's room for both of them, though, which is what I'm trying to get to. So unlike Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton, there's not room for both of them. Really, we don't have room for any of them, frankly.
Right.
But we won't get into politics here. But I think there is room for Battleborn and Overwatch, and that's one thing that a lot of Reapers are playing right now is not only playing Battleborn, and the idea of trying all those characters and seeing which ones fit your play style and stuff has really been a lot of fun. So I'm really interested to continue to see what Reapers think about Battleborn now that it's out. Overwatch isn't out yet. The beta just closed today.
Comment
so-
in the YouTube in the podcast. Comment below if you played the
Absolutely.
game and
Yeah.
let us know what you think.
Yeah, let us know for sure, because we're going to be talking a lot more about Battleborn, especially as they launch some of their DLC packs and their new
Right.
maps that are going to be coming out in the next few weeks. So we'll definitely keep an eye on that. The other big thing that is coming out this week, and this is maybe the largest game that's going to come out this year for PlayStation, and that's Uncharted 4. And I tell this story a lot, but I wrote game reviews for a now defunct video game website for years and years, and I've reviewed dozens and dozens of games and written reviews for them. And of all the games I've ever played, every game ever, there's only one game that I've ever given 10 out of 10. And it is, in my opinion, the best video game that's ever been made, and that's Uncharted 2.
Better than Mr. Do?
Better than a much more compelling story than Mr.
Okay,
Do. Let's just
right.
say that. And I think we've already stated that I don't even know that you can call. It's even really hard sometimes to call Mr. Do and Uncharted or Pac-Man and Zelda, Legend of Zelda, even the same thing sometimes. They're so
Yeah, they're both images you
Different.
control on a screen, but man, it's come a long way.
That's where a lot of the similarities end. They're both images you control on the screen, very different images. But anyway, the Uncharted series is amazing. And we talked a little bit earlier about Amy Hennig, who was one of the driving forces of Uncharted. Now she's gone and she's working on this other Star Wars project. But Uncharted series starring Nathan Drake, Nolan North playing Nathan Drake, the voice of Nathan Drake, and also motion capture in a lot of scenes. It's just, to me, it's one of those. If you have a Nintendo, you have to have Mario.
Right.
If you have a Nintendo, you have to have Zelda. That's just the rules, okay? I don't make the rules, all right? It's just the rules.
Right.
And if you have a PlayStation, you have to play Uncharted. You have to play God of War. That's just the rules. And so if you're missing out on that, if you're not playing Uncharted, you are literally out of your mind. Because right now you can get on the PlayStation Network, you can get the Uncharted Drake Collection, Uncharted 1, 2, and 3 for $39.
Nice.
All three games
Wow.
remastered on the PS4. That's like $13 a game for those of you that aren't
And those
math
are
majors
digital
out there.
Well, that's one thing. People complain about digital downloads because they want the physical media. Well, you're talking about downloads, I'm assuming.
Yes, they are
One thing
download,
cool
yeah.
about you can get some really good collections and cheap. You save a lot of money by just.
And I'm not sure if there's a physical copy at this point of the Uncharted collection. There may be a physical copy.
Yeah.
But I was looking last night, and it means $39.99 for 3 games, and maybe the
Yeah.
best video game of all time, at least
Right.
in my opinion. So, Uncharted 2 and the Uncharted series in general, but especially Uncharted 2, just does not have any weaknesses. There's not something you can point at and say, well, this is kind of glitchy,
Right.
or this story doesn't make any sense, or the acting is not very good. And then if you take a look at all those things and you say also the gameplay is amazing, the level design is so intricate and detailed, it just doesn't have any weaknesses. And so Uncharted 4 coming out tonight at midnight, and there's such high expectations. People are already talking about it as Game of the Year. Every Uncharted title that's ever come out has won Game of the Year, so there's no reason to think that Uncharted 4 won't
And
be.
if you haven't been to a midnight launch at GameStop ever, it's kind of fun.
It is.
They'll throw out some pizzas, free pizzas around 8 or 8:30.
The real big events to go to are the Call of Duty
I'm just there
ones.
for the free food.
Right, yeah,
know.
the free food and the pizza and
Yeah.
10 minutes and you walk back out without buying anything.
I might
or
buy
even-
something out of the clearance aisle.
Right, out
you know?
of the clearance bin, right.
Right.
Or let them know, hey, do you guys know who I am? I'm Brett Weiss. You know,
Here's
I
a
write
card. Look at
books
my
about-
website and buy stuff.
But
I might
anyway,
spam them a little.
So tonight I have I was going to mention this earlier, but I have to work tonight. I have to work the Beyonce concert tonight. So I will be at the stadium this evening. So I don't know what time I'm going to get off. So I don't know. It'd probably be pretty late.
Now,
so
are
I
you
don't-
going to get a glimpse of her? Are you going to be able to hear the music, or where are you going to be working in the stadium?
No, I'll be helping with merchandising like I do for all, and I don't know exactly where I'll be in the stadium. That kind of changes.
Right.
So it kind of depends. You can obviously hear from anywhere in
Yeah,
there, so I'll
right.
have the earplugs in. And if it was the Rolling Stones,
The earplugs, kind of like Beyonce.
okay.
Who's old now?
I like Beyonce. I like some of her older stuff a little
Yeah.
better, Destiny's Child and stuff. But even if you like them, the earplugs are a good idea
Yeah.
because it's very loud.
And she's certainly nice to look at. That's not a
Yeah, I'm not going to be
problem.
wearing goggles. I'll be.
Right.
I can look. I'll
Right.
be able to see that, but I'll probably be at a
Look,
distance.
but don't listen.
Right, exactly. So I'm trying to save my hearing, and then there'll
Right.
be also a lot of screaming, 14-year-old girls there more
Yeah,
than
that's a
likely
bit-
and stuff. So
Okay, just a real quick aside.
yeah,
I went to see Rick Springfield back in like 1983. I was 16 years old.
you were 37 at the time.
Yeah.
yeah, when you were.
And it was a surprisingly good show. He rocked. It was great. By the way, Rick Springfield is just a hardcore Star Wars collector. He's got one of the
Oh, I
biggest
know.
Star
Yeah,
Wars
I've read
collections
articles
ever.
about his
Yeah.
Star Wars
So I
stuff.
went to this concert. 90-something% females just screaming at the top of their lungs, and me and my friend are over here. I mean, it was just
Were
it
you
was like
hoping?
the Beatles.
Were you hoping he would have brought out some Star Wars stuff? Is that why you went?
I
to
didn't
see
know
if he
about it
brought
back
out
then. This is kind of a
Oh,
new
right.
discovery that he was a Star Wars
Oh,
collector.
right, yeah.
He hid his nerdiness back then when he was younger. And,
Right.
you know,
Now it's like he doesn't care because
now that geek is chic and he's old.
Right.
Sure, let's bring up if you check on YouTube, you can put in Rick Springfield Star Wars, and you can see one of the coolest Star Wars collections you've ever seen.
wow.
But anyway, that was an aside.
No,
Go ahead.
Incredibly interesting. Rick Springfield is very topical, very,
Yeah, very
front
cool
of mind
guy.
for most people. Yeah, so that's
Is he
good.
really?
For you,
For old
Alan?
guys. Yeah.
All right, so Uncharted 4 obviously is going to be huge. The story now, every Uncharted has always been a bit linear because they're telling a story, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're kind of leading you along. So it's not real open world like a lot of games are, because open world games, it's harder to tell a good story because you can go off and hunt
Right.
for crap for 8 hours and
Mm-hmm.
then get back to the story later. But supposedly there's going to be a little more freedom in Uncharted 4 to kind of explore the world.
Yeah.
A little bit larger, a little bit more freedom. There's also going to be vehicles now. There's a Jeep in here, so there's going to be a lot of vehicle sequences, which a lot of people are saying
Nice.
are very good.
Yeah.
I've read several articles about people that have actually tried it and stuff and said it's a wonderful addition to the gameplay. So, and then they've also added some things to the multiplayer, which I think is going to be really, really fun. So, Battleborn, Dark Souls 3, these games that I've been playing a lot the last couple weeks, they get put down for a couple days for Uncharted. It's just the way it is.
Right,
So,
yeah.
so starting tonight, those things are gonna take one step down. Although Battleborn is really a cool thing because that has really got me hooked in. And Joe King, who we went and talked to at Gearbox, is working on hopefully getting us some giveaway items for our raffle contest, which we'll talk about later. So
Very
some
cool.
Battleborn stuff. So anyway,
Yeah, Joe King rocks, man.
Joe King, he's a kidder.
He's the man.
But anyway, so talking about things that have happened this last week, we were talking about comics. Have you seen the new Captain America: Civil War yet?
Well, since you have to pay admission, no.
Since it costs money.
I tried to sneak in, and they caught me. So no, I haven't seen it.
Yeah, well, I saw it this weekend.
Yeah, no, actually, I was just too busy. I wanted to, but I was just swamped. I was too busy.
I saw it this weekend with a very close person to me that we're not going to talk too in depth about, but she and I went and saw it this weekend, and she again is not a huge gamer and not huge into comic books. She likes it and appreciates it. Wanted to see it.
She's not really huge into Curtis either, but we'll save that for another show.
We're not going to get into anything close to that at all.
Anywho.
But anyway, so we went and saw this, and I was really interested again. Like I saw Ratchet and Clank with her. I was interested to get her perspective on not being a gamer. What did you think about the movie?
Was that your pickup line?
That was my Ratchet and Clank pickup line.
Yeah, that works.
Smooth.
That kills, man.
Oh, it kills, man.
Yeah.
It reels them in for real. So anyway, but we talked afterwards, and I said, okay, so here's the main thing that I want to know from you. All the people in the Reapers are talking about how this is the greatest superhero movie ever. Better than several I can name off as my top ones. I said, what do you think about that? And she and I have seen most of the most recent ones in the last 4 or 5 years. Avengers, the Captain America, Thor movies, all
Captain
those.
America, Winter Soldier is freaking awesome.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So we've seen all these together, and she looked at me and said, no, not the best superhero movie. And I said, absolutely, it's not. And to hear people talk about it, I was going into it with these super high expectations, and it was good. Don't get me wrong. Spider-Man, and I'm not going to give any spoilers away. I promised everyone I would not get into spoilers.
Right.
So I'm not going to mention anything that hasn't been on the trailers, okay? Yeah. Spider-Man is in it. Black Panther is in it. Ant-Man is in it. They've all been in the commercials, right? So the trailers, they're in the trailers. So they were all great, but it seemed like they were trying to fit so many superheroes into this thing. You didn't get in depth really with too many of them because they're trying to squeeze so many in to advertise future movies.
Wasn't that was the complaint of the last Avengers movie?
Age of Ultron?
Yeah, Age of Ultron. Wasn't it kind of busy and too many?
It was very busy.
So it does that even more with this one.
So here's my thought. Superhero movies, we didn't even really figure out how to do them real well until in my opinion, the last 15 to 20 years.
For the most part.
For the most part, you with me on this?
Superman the movie is really good. Superman 2 is good. Tim Burton's Batman.
Superman
hold on.
Flew around the earth backwards.
I know he had goofy powers, but they were still good movies. Batman, Tim Burton was good, but they had flaws.
Yes.
With Sam Raimi's Spider-Man and with the recent X-Men movies, in the last 15 to 20 years, they've gotten really good at making superhero movies. So the budgets are better. The special effects have come a long way. They're being more true to the comic books, so absolutely, Superman overall superhero movies have gotten a whole lot better, but there are a few good ones from before the modern era. And not that many though.
In my opinion, this new one was really good, but it's not even the best Captain America movie, much less the best superhero movie. I liked the first Captain America better, and Winter Soldier better. Both of those.
Both phenomenal.
Robert Redford was awesome in Winter Soldier. He was such a great Hydra bad dude.
Well,
the first Avengers I thought was better.
Yeah, it was great. The first Avengers was great.
And the best superhero movie in my opinion ever. Dark Knight. Heath Ledger as Joker, Christopher Nolan writing and directing, Aaron Eckhart as Two-Face, and Christian Bale. I think that was his best performance as not only Bruce Wayne but also as Batman. And Gary Oldman is awesome. To me, the writing of it, the whole thing was the best superhero movie ever.
It's a great film, and it sort of transcends the genre by adding like existential angst and things like that. And it's a really deep philosophical movie. I get a little tired of Christian Bale's sort of voice.
And that's what she said too. She said that's why I don't like The Dark Knight as much as you do, because I can't get past the voice.
Well, the first one didn't bother me that much. I got a little weary of it with the sequels.
It got stronger. He did it more. He didn't do it in Batman Begins. He didn't do it as much. It wasn't as pronounced.
As it wore on, it got a little. But other, and the Christian Bale trilogy is not my favorite superhero movies, but the Dark Knight with Heath Ledger, that is a very fine film.
Heath Ledger just kind of stole that in a lot of ways. I feel like Spider-Man kind of stole the latest, even though he didn't have a huge part in it, not like Iron Man.
But he'd come in with quips.
And you get to meet him a little bit and see his personality and his interaction with Iron Man, who it appears is going to be kind of a mentor to him, kind of teach him how to do all this. So that was really good, and you can't go wrong with Wanda Maximoff as Scarlet Witch. In that. There's nothing at all wrong with her. And she was a beast in the comic books.
Now, Scarlett Johansson in this?
Scarlett Johansson is good, and I'm a Scarlett Johansson fan, but Scarlet Witch.
All right.
She's
I'll
solid.
I plan on seeing it soon.
Did you check out Scarlet Witch comic books much? Did you? She's super powerful. One of the most
Yeah.
powerful comics.
Oh,
I think
sure,
a lot of
yeah.
people don't know how
Right.
truly powerful she was.
Yeah, she would have kind of a meek personality, but then this
very
real powerful.
quiet, very quiet, reserved.
Yeah.
But it's just from a power standpoint, she can
Yeah.
go up against anybody.
Yeah, she's one of the most powerful characters in the Marvel universe for sure.
Yeah. So, and she's got a little thing going on with another character in here, which is kind of a little interesting side note.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's kind of cool too. But as far as the new characters, I like the Black Panther. Black Panther
Yeah.
was a good new character to meet.
Right.
And Ant-Man.
Now, did they use a white actor for the Black Panther like they've done, like with
No.
using a black Jimmy Olsen and Supergirl TV show?
No,
they're not flipping that.
Or a Black Perry White and
Yeah.
Superman and Man of Steel.
Right.
No, we didn't flip that.
Yeah.
I feel like if we flipped it that direction, we'd get a lot more.
A little more guff.
Yeah, a little more.
I can
guff
understand
in.
why they do that. We're making up for. I mean, you watch Captain Marvel for the old, serial from the 30s or 40s. No blacks in that at all.
Yeah.
And
No, I'm
the
all
comics
for
blacks in
yeah.
the comics really didn't have any prominent roles at all until the 70s. So you've got
Right.
we're making up for lost
We're
time.
trying
and
to catch
I'm
up.
fine with that.
No,
I would rather
I'm
them
okay with
create
that.
new and interesting characters, but if they're gonna swap out
See, that's what I'd rather do too.
Yeah.
I'd kind of rather have newer, interesting characters.
Right.
But obviously, yeah, but the guy that played Black Panther was really good,
Mm-hmm.
and they're setting that up for a Black Panther movie.
Yeah.
So that's going to be cool too. So, and that's part of what they're doing is they're setting these up for all these individual spin-off movies.
Yeah.
And sometimes I feel like the movie itself suffers because we're trying to introduce too many guys
Yeah.
in here, and so
well, it's
that's
funny.
my only question.
We had,
about it.
a dearth of superhero movies for years. Were just nothing, and most of the ones that would come out were cheesy and,
Yeah.
and went like there was a Fantastic Four movie that went unreleased. There was a Captain
Yeah.
America movie that went straight to video. It was just awful and cheesy and everything.
Right.
There was that Spider-Man TV series from the 70s that was just, charming, I guess,
Right,
but bad.
right.
Now, Wonder Woman and Hulk were really good. Those 70s TV shows were really good, especially
Yeah.
if you were a kid,
Yeah.
like me in the
Oh,
70s.
Linda Carter.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yikes.
Okay.
And
Next
she's still.
subject. I think
and
my
she-
wife might watch this. so
And
let's-
she's like 110, and she still looks.
Well,
amazing.
she has a new career now as a singer. She plays lounges all over the country
Really?
and does small venues where she does where she
I didn't know
sings.
that.
Yeah, she covered Kiss's "I Was Made for Loving You" on
Shut
television
up.
years
Are
ago.
you kidding me?
Yeah,
Really?
No, the disco hit from the late '70s. Yeah.
Oh, my
But yeah, she
gosh.
sings. And I have a friend that sort of follows her around the country as sort of a stalker, and goes to
Was
see
it the
her.
guy that I met at the?
Yeah, we won't say his name.
I don't
but
even
yeah.
remember his name, but
Yeah, it's Johnny Lloyd.
Yeah, I thought you were.
Yeah.
What happened to you weren't going to mention his name?
Well,
He's
I like to
to-
bust his balls.
I remember meeting him, and
Yeah.
you're going to catch so much crap for that right there.
Well, he won't watch this, so it
he
doesn't
won't?
matter. No, he's not a hardcore. He's not much of a gamer.
I'll
so
send him a link to it.
Yeah, do
I
that.
don't want him to miss it.
do that. Well, since you don't have to read this podcast and you just listen to it, he might listen to
He
it.
might listen to it.
But anyway, so yeah, she has a. But anyway, so for years we had hardly any superhero stuff, and usually it was bad. Well, now there's just so much of it, I can't even catch it all. And but I think that's probably better than nothing or and all horrible.
No, and it's just like the whole Star Wars thing. I'd rather have too much than not enough.
Not
yeah.
enough, right.
So,
Well,
and then the last
okay.
thing she was in, the last thing I remember her being in that I saw her, and she looked great. This was maybe 10 years ago, but that Disney superhero movie Sky High, you remember that?
Yeah.
With the kid and everything. She was the
Uh-huh.
principal. She
Oh,
was
yeah, that
principal.
was a cool
she
movie.
She was Principal Powers.
That's a fun movie.
Yeah, she was
Yeah,
the
I like
one
that.
that and she had the room there where the kids came into and it neutralized all their powers. or
Right,
whatever.
that's right. I forgot
And,
she was in
You know,
that.
I kept waiting for her to paddle somebody.
Yeah,
That never happened. I was
That's
like,
what you wanted. That's kind
no,
of
but
twisted.
she looked great in there. She was really good in that,
Right.
obviously. But so that's
Well, you
the
were
last
talking
thing I
about
remember.
favorite superhero movies. I'm not sure if I have a definitive all-time favorite movie. I have some nostalgic favorites like Superman the movie, Superman 2, and the Tim Burton Batman. I was just so excited for those, as when I was younger. So I hold those really in high regard.
Tim Burton Batman was really good.
Yeah.
Michael Keaton was a great.
Oh
Bruce
man, he
Wayne
surprised
keeping
everybody.
it.
And I knew what's his face was the Affleck was going to be a great Batman. As soon as they announced
knew he
that,
was
all
gonna-
the hate.
Yeah.
I thought he's got the square jaw. He's a good actor. He's tall. He's big.
He may have been the best Bruce Wayne of all of them. I
Yeah.
think if you want to separate the two, and not that he was a bad Batman, but
Right.
just as far as the balance of being Bruce Wayne, he was really twisted as Bruce Wayne a bit, a little more revenge motivated. Even
Well, it was a
than-
dark movie. So,
Yeah, very dark,
yeah.
but he was I thought he was really good in that.
So anyway, I don't necessarily have an all-time favorite movie, but I like those three. And in the newer stuff, I love Spider-Man 1 and 2. The X-Men movies are really good, most of those. I love the first Captain America movie. I swear, I got chills when they show Steve Rogers as this wimp
going into the machine and
Yeah,
then
and getting the super soldier
Yeah.
serum, and then coming out buff. That was so much like the comics I read when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I could not believe it. I mean, it was amazing. I don't know what they did. I still don't know. I haven't read it. I don't really want to know because it was just so cool.
Yeah,
It was like magic.
right. It's like magic,
It's
right.
like when I'm reading the Jack Kirby comics when I'm a kid, and you see wimpy Steve Rogers, and then he's this, wow, it was incredible.
Yeah.
Special effects have really gone a long way towards making superhero movies better.
Yeah,
I mean,
now
just
they're
I
a
mean,
lot
that-
more viable, and you could even say that even in some science fiction and other type of genres, is now we can
Now-
do things that we can imagine.
Yeah,
in a way.
now it can be to the point of distraction and to
Right.
the point of reducing to the stereo to just a cartoon or
Right.
just, cliched or whatever. So, I mean, The Day the Earth Stood Still from 1951 is still one of the greatest all-time science fiction movies.
Right.
Even though,
The special
even-
effects are crap, right? Because
Well,
it was back in that era.
okay, I'm not going to say the special effects are crap. It's still a good-looking movie. They look cool for the time.
For the
but
time.
they've come a long
is
way.
what I meant, right?
And I mean, the 1950s, some of my favorite movies were science fiction from the 1950s. But yeah, anyway, so special effects have made comic books and cartoons possible for the big screen. You know,
Right.
you get make them much more faithful to their source material.
Well, with this very close friend of mine, one of the other things we did is we were doing some garage cleaning, which is always fun. And
That sounds like an extremely boring topic.
It is,
But nah.
No.
Okay.
It's not. It's not as boring. I say, we're
It ties
cleaning-
into the podcast.
We're cleaning out a
Right.
garage,
Okay.
and we find
Drum roll, please.
her old Atari 2600 from when she was a kid
Very cool.
in a box, and 8 different games in there. Very cool. And we hooked it up to her television and actually played some of these titles, including Pitfall 2, which
Excellent. Oh man, Pitfall 2.
David Crane was
even
one
better
of
than
the
Pitfall.
developers of Pitfall.
One of,
right?
yeah,
One
right.
of, remember that?
Yeah, I
one
did.
of the developers.
one of your horrible moments in podcast.
Is it that
broadcasting.
horrible? Is it that? Because I didn't know that he was part of developing this. I didn't know that he was the only person
Yeah.
that he literally printed the cartridges
He
and the
didn't do
labels
that.
on. Oh, he didn't do that. Okay, so,
He wasn't-
there were other people involved in
Right.
some levels. What you're
Well,
saying?
some old games did have someone separate to handle the sound, someone separate to handle
Right,
the graphics.
right.
So, but anyway, side the point. So anyway,
Pitfall 2.
Pitfall 2 is even better than the first Pitfall, which is just remarkable because Pitfall's a masterpiece.
There are these levels on
Mm-hmm.
Pitfall 2 that you go down, and it seems to go down forever,
Mm-hmm.
and that's where we ended up getting stuck. And part of it was because the joysticks don't seem to be working real well.
You'll have to go to Movie Trading Company and buy new joysticks,
I'm gonna have to.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to get a couple joysticks.
or
but,
found at Electronics.
But also Pac-Man, that original Pac-Man on 2600
Yeah.
was just ridiculous.
Okay.
I mean, because we all wanted it to look like
Right.
the arcade version,
Yeah.
and it looked nothing like it.
Yeah. Okay. The thing about the original Pac-Man, it sold a ton of Atari 2600s. It
Yeah.
helped sell the system. It looks like dog barf.
Right.
The ghosts blink to distraction.
Right.
The character always faces the same way. Pac-Man faces the same
The
way.
label on the cartridge is the best part of the whole thing, because the label on the cartridge is, "Oh, I'm going to play the arcade game."
Yeah,
when I
you look
put
at the
this in.
box,
and then you go
and-
on and you're like, "What is this? My system's broken."
It looks terrible, and it has a terrible sound. But okay, I'm getting to the gameplay in just a second. It looks terrible, and it honk when you eat dots.
Right.
It sounds terrible. But I actually enjoy playing the game. I have to admit, because everything. Okay, things I view through nostalgia. Okay, I still like to play it, by the way. When I was younger, and I got burnt out on the original Pac-Man. Pac-Man came out in 1980. I was in junior high school. There was a Quickway convenience store near my junior high. I went there before school and after school, and I would play Pac-Man, Asteroids, and Phoenix. Well, I played, and at the arcade, other arcades and stuff.
Right.
I played the heck out of Pac-Man. Got sick of Pac-Man. Got utterly sick of it.
Right.
Which was remedied when Miss Pac-Man came out.
Oh yeah.
Because of different mazes and whatnot. But
She was-
anyway,
and she was hot. She had the bow in her head and everything. Right.
Yeah, and you
were
know I like to
"Oh,
play
this is gonna keep
female
my attention."
characters.
Right. Oh yeah, you
Yeah.
do love to play female
it began
characters.
with Miss Pac-Man.
Is that where it started?
That
The whole
must be.
female character obsession?
But anyway, so I got burnt out on Pac-Man. So when the Atari 2600 Pac-Man came along, it was a new challenge. I mean, it is a challenging game. And if you can look past the visuals and the sounds, you actually have the basics of a pretty darn good, just straight up
Absolutely,
maze
sure,
game.
right.
You eat dots, you avoid ghosts. Now you want to dim the lights a little because the ghosts kind of flicker.
Yeah.
And so when you eat the power pellet,
it's hard to
kinda
tell
hard
if
to
they're
tell
still
if
vulnerable or not.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. So dim the lights a little. Have you a glass of wine? I don't know. It just goes with dim lights.
Does it?
And play some Pac-Man.
Play
Ooh,
some
I said Miss
play-
Pac-Man. That was a Freudian slip.
Play some Destiny's Child on the sound to get the mood
Right, crank it up.
But then it doesn't even have like the little cherries and the bananas.
No, they're
It's
just
a
like
square.
squares.
It's just a-
Yeah, but I can forgive and Miss Pac-Man for the Atari 2600 spruced up the visuals, has better gameplay. But anyway, the original Pac-Man looks terrible but still playable.
A couple of the other games that were in there, she had 8 games, I think. Combat was one of them, which was nice.
Oh, man.
I loved Combat.
One of the greatest
Me and my brother
two-player games of
Jason
all time.
Played the heck out of Combat.
Pong and Combat, they basically forged the path for two-player, mano-a-mano, perfectly fair gameplay.
Right.
Just
All about skill,
Yeah.
about there weren't any imbalanced weapons or
Right.
overpowered this character over that character.
Yeah.
It was all about who was better at the game.
Phenomenal
right?
games, yeah.
And then the one I have to close with is she actually had a and these are all brand new looking, from early
Very
'90s.
cool.
It's an Atari 2600 Junior, so it's not the original,
Yeah.
1970 whatever. But
Which, if you look back, I don't remember
Yeah.
what podcast was that.
it was episode 3, I think, maybe, or
Yeah.
4, where you unboxed one, right?
Yeah, look back a few episodes, and I unboxed a brand new Atari 2600 Junior that had never actually been played, pulled out of the
pulled
plastic
it out of the
or
plastic
unrolled or
on
anything.
camera. It's
yeah,
insane.
The cords were still rolled up and factory,
Right.
tied.
Right.
So yeah.
So
anyway,
but the last game that I pulled out as I was pulling out all these games, E.T. Copy of E.T.
Right.
So, and for those that don't know, E.T. has a very long and storied history. in
watch
gaming.
Atari Game Over, a documentary called Atari Game Over. You'll learn the whole history of ET and what it did for and against the industry. and all that kind of
Wasn't it
stuff.
single-handedly responsible for bringing down
No.
the video game industry?
No, a lot of people say that, and I know you're saying that tongue in cheek.
That's a softball.
Yeah,
I'm
that's a
lobbing up for
softball.
you to
Saying that
knock
tongue in
one out.
cheek.
Yeah,
It certainly didn't help.
it didn't help. That's,
Howard Scott Warshaw had to rush this out in like 5 weeks. They wanted.
they slapped the E.T. name on it, to get sales.
It's an adventure
and-
game, and if you read the manual and really figure out what to do in the game, it's a decent game according to people that like adventure games. I'm not a fan of it.
You're not going to give it a 10 out of 10.
No,
You're
I
gonna
don't.
give
I
it
don't
a-
care for it because I'm more of an action game guy.
Yeah.
And you keep falling in these pits for no reason.
Yeah,
and-
the pits.
Yeah.
I played it a little bit. I was
So
like,
the game
this
is kind of the
not-
pits.
Yeah,
But
It
but
is.
like I've said before, if they just would have made ET into a Pac-Man clone where he gobbles Reese's Pieces, I think that would have had a better outcome. But anyway, watch Atari Game Over. It'll tell you about the famous New Mexico dig.
Yeah, burying
For
all
the
those
buried
copies
ET
and
cartridges
then
that
digging
went
them up
unsold
and-
and everything.
You know,
But
speaking
anyway,
of-
so you found ET. Did you play it?
I did play it a little bit.
Yeah, and you had no idea what to do.
No, absolutely not. I couldn't
See-
figure out what to do. I kept falling in these pits you were
Right.
talking about. I was like,
And I'm
wait,
guessing she didn't have the manuals and boxes.
no,
yeah, and
no,
everything.
no manuals,
Well, see,
no
but
boxes.
everybody,
Yeah.
almost any time you find an Atari collection, it's just the system and the carts, no manuals, no boxes, any of that
Because we
stuff.
threw all that stuff
Yeah.
away. We opened it on Christmas,
Right.
and then it went in the big
Yeah.
bag with all the wrapping paper.
Exactly, yeah.
So,
Just didn't think a thing
and
of it.
speaking of Atari 2600, you sent me a really funny text a couple of days ago. Because I was
Right.
like, "Hey, these are some of the things we need to talk about on the podcast this
Right.
week. What do you have that you want to talk about?"
Okay.
And you replied back, and you're like, 2 words. One was like stadium events. You said stadium events.
Yeah.
And obviously I work for the Cowboys. I work for Legends, so I'm at the stadium all the time,
Right.
working events. So when you said stadium events, I thought, does he want to talk about my Beyonce concert this week?
Yeah.
Does he want to talk about what events are coming up at the
Yeah,
stadium?
and you just said
that-
okay, and I'm like,
Okay.
okay, cool. Curtis is in on the whole stadium
No,
events
but
phenomenon.
you did not mean me at AT&T Stadium
No,
events
that would
at
have
all.
been a terribly boring thing
That
to
would
talk
have been
about.
a weird topic for
No.
our podcast.
What I'm
so.
talking about is one of the greatest stories in gaming, retro gaming now, is
Okay.
the phenomenon of stadium events.
And
This
I had
is-
no idea what you were talking about. When you said, "Hey, have you ever played stadium
I was
events?"
so
I had
disappointed.
no idea what you're talking about.
Now, Stadium Events is not a great game, but the cartridge itself is something you definitely want to get if you ever see it cheap. Okay, so this is one of your many failures with retro gaming, Curtis.
It's
I mean,
hard to rank them. I
We've
have
talked
a lot.
about Ralph Baer, that you're like, who? We've talked about
David Crane,
like
Pitfall,
yeah,
right.
one of the creators.
one of the creators.
No, but seriously, Curtis is retro gaming, but sort of from a casual standpoint. I mean,
Yes.
you grew up with the Atari 2600 and the
Yeah.
NES, like so many American kids
I know
did.
just enough to be dangerous.
Yeah,
I don't.
right.
I'm not the professor.
And you have nostalgic memories of playing
Memories,
some
right.
really good NES and Atari
Yeah.
2600 games.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Sure.
You know, and with me, I play some of my favorite modern titles, but I don't have a PS4 yet. So we
Right.
sort of bounce stuff
Yeah,
off
so
each
we
other.
have, you know, the
Right,
newer and the older.
I fall asleep way before the midnight releases.
Right,
and
you
so
never
that
make
kind
it
of
to the
thing.
midnight launches.
Right. But I keep my foot in the modern era, just like you keep your foot in the retro
Right.
community.
Right.
So Stadium Events was released by Bandai in 1987. It was a track and field game where you used a pad called the Family Fitness Fun Mat. Sounds like something Clark Griswold would want his
Right.
kids to play, right?
Right, exactly, yeah.
Yeah, so Stadium Events for the Fitness Fun Mat.
Mhm.
You would step or hop or whatever on these dots, and
Okay.
it would interact with the screen. Track and field events,
Kind
give
of like
people-
a twister-looking pad on the
Yeah.
ground with different things on it.
Right, you
stomp
get
on 'em
people
and
up off
run
the
and-
couch, and you'd get
Right.
a little aerobic exercise in while you play
Okay.
the game. Well, Nintendo bought the rights to Stadium Events,
Mhm.
and they bought the rights to the Family Fitness Fun Mat.
Okay.
They rebranded them, re-released them as Stadium Events and the Power Pad. Power Pads are pretty everybody knows the Power Pad,
Sure.
not the Family Fun Fitness Mat or what Family Fitness Fun Mat. So the Power
Which I
Pad,
think you just made up. Family Fitness Fun Map. I think
Yeah.
you just made
No,
that
I
up,
didn't.
right?
Look it up.
You
Look it
didn't?
up.
Okay, I'm going to Google it. I
No,
Google
yeah.
everything.
No, it's for real. And so what Nintendo did was they discontinued Stadium Events.
Right.
So rumor has it that there were only around 2,000 produced and only 200 make it onto retail. Quite a decent amount of Stadium Events have started kind of showing up in collections around the country and estate sales and whatnot.
Right.
So some people are saying maybe there were more than 200 released into the general public.
Mhm.
But anyway, so Nintendo had Bandai pull Stadium Events off the market and everything. So Stadium
Okay.
Events now is a very rare game. As far as retail releases, it's the rarest title for the NES. Now there's the blockbuster, like competition carts and stuff. I'm not talking about those. I'm talking about things that were released at retail.
Right.
Stadium Events is the rarest one. You've also got like Flintstones, Surprise at Dinosaur Peak. You've got a few other rare NES
Well, you
titles,
said-
but Stadium Events takes the cake. As a matter of fact, one of the centerpieces of the National Video Game Museum in Frisco is a copy of Stadium Events. Now they don't have it complete in the package yet, but they do have the cartridge. And just recently, I think I sent you something about this. A Redditor outside of Cleveland, Ohio, recently was at an estate sale, and in the basement, this massive estate sale. So this person moved or probably died or something,
Mhm.
and so he went in and he found lots and lots of boxed NES games. And so as he's going through these NES games, he's finding a bunch of titles. He sees Stadium Events. Now, he wasn't a hardcore collector, but he knew enough. And then he said, that kind of rings a bell. So he bought it, and he bought them all. $5 a piece, boxed, complete NES games. Awesome.
Insane.
Yeah, $5 a piece. So he's the proud owner of a Stadium Events.
Right.
And
Which you
so-
sent me that article of like the 10 most valuable video games or whatever. And what was
Yeah.
the price tag on that one?
Well,
Several.
a few years ago, a factory-sealed Stadium Event sold on eBay for over $40,000. Now, the card itself, somebody recently in Denton, which is pretty, a little far up north of Fort Worth, Freaks and Geeks, the video game store, they sort of helped. They looked at the card. A customer brought it in. They looked at the cartridge to authenticate it and everything, and they sort of helped with the sale or whatnot. But anyway, a guy who had this cartridge for a couple of years in his collection, and he goes, "Man, this thing is valuable. I really need to sell this." So he sold the cart only for $7,500. So we're talking. So with Tammy's Closet Find, that's Atari 2600 with 8 games. That's about $75, 75, 80
something
bucks.
like that.
So it's a decent. Little,
I don't think she'd ever sell it or anything.
it's a
but
good thing to
I
have
think it's
for
just
nostalgia.
cool to have the especially the copy of ET, and it was all in amazing
So,
condition. It hadn't even been
As much as retro gaming is hot right now, people are still finding things at garage sales and in their attics and in closets and
Right.
stuff. So if you've got, it's been a while since you've cleaned out your attic or closet or whatever, see if you've got an
Yeah,
old,
take a look.
games. See if you have Stadium Events or,
Okay.
if you have ET, just throw it away. No, it's funny when all the phenomenon about they actually went and, ET cartridges were buried in the landfill in New Mexico and other Atari cartridges too.
Right.
Well, with that, they actually did a dig and found them, with
Yeah.
Atari Game Over and everything. Well, with that phenomenon, or a phenomenon happened, that cartridge went up in price. You could usually get a card only ET for just a couple of bucks.
Yeah.
Complete $8 or $10. Well, it shot up, 20, $25 for the cartridge, $50, $60, $75
Yeah.
complete. Now it's starting to come down a little
Yeah.
bit now that the craze is over. But anyway,
All that media attention stuff obviously makes it inflate. So.
so look in your closet and see if you have a stadium events.
All right, cool. Well, a couple other things we want to mention here before we wrap up. First of all, we still got a raffle contest which is going on. I mentioned Joe King is going to be giving us some items that were going to be prizes for people that buy
And
tickets.
Joe King is?
Joe King from Gearbox.
Yes.
Yes. He's going to be giving some items. You're donating some items for
Right.
this contest. I'm donating some HoldSquare items as well as PSN cards and some other things for this. So we're still, I think we're about 20% of, I have to look exactly and see where we're at. We're about 20% there, I believe, of our goal. We're trying to reach $1,500 brought
Right.
in. Raffle tickets are $10 a piece. You can buy one by going on our front page at holdsquare.com. Click the donate button and you can donate in $10 increments and just put in the comments that I want to buy 5 tickets or 1 ticket or 100 tickets or whatever you want to. Be sure and put your PSN ID in there too so I know who it is. But anyway, and as we talked about earlier, we had the vote for the poll of what I was going to do if we reached that $1,500 goal. And I'm going to be dressing up as Mad Moxie in drag and doing a podcast sitting right next to my good buddy Brett here. So if you don't know much about Mad Moxie, go ahead and Google Mad Moxie in Borderlands, and you'll see the character, the female character. I feel like once more people see this character, they'll want to see me dressed up as her. If you don't know anything about Borderlands, go ahead and Google that and see what you think. See if you'd like to see me do a podcast dressed up as her. So
I'm not sure I want to see that.
You have-
I
you have
might
mixed
look
emotions?
right here the whole time we're doing this. I might put up a.
I know you want us to
Yeah.
reach our goal, obviously,
Right.
but you have mixed emotions because then you're going to have
Yeah,
to see me
I have
and
mixed
sit next to
emotions
me.
because I want you to meet the goal. I want to be I want to get a lot of views and everything.
Yeah.
And I support the LGBT community,
Right.
including you.
You're very outspoken about
Indeed,
that. You do. You do.
a little too outspoken.
You do.
Yeah, but anyway, I have it regarding the raffle, the giveaway,
Yeah.
and everything. I have an announcement to make.
Oh my gosh.
No, this is good.
Okay.
You're gonna like this. I
I
haven't
am.
told you this because I was gonna surprise you on the podcast.
Okay, great.
Okay, real quickly, when they give $10 PayPal, right?
Yes,
they can
PayPal.
PayPal it.
Yeah, they
You go
can
to
PayPal.
holdsquare.com.
Click on the PayPal donation button, which is in
Right.
the top right
And you
corner.
donate $10.
And then
Right.
$10 gets you 1 ticket. You can
Now
buy
you-
as many tickets as you want. If you want to buy
Right.
5 tickets, it's $50.
Now you
wanna
collect
buy-
their name.
Yeah, it
information?
sends it all to our
Right.
account, and it says who donated it, what it's for. You put in the comments, say I want to buy 5 raffle tickets.
Okay,
or whatever.
for the entire raffle, everyone who buys a $10 raffle ticket will get a free digital copy of my self-published book, Retro Pop Culture A to Z, from Atari 2600 to Zombie Films.
Wow.
It's hard copies, like a physical copy goes for $15.
Right.
But I sell digital copies, and they're available on Amazon for $5. So if you donate, if you buy a $10 raffle ticket, or however many you buy, you will get a free digital copy of Retro
Wow.
Pop Culture
That
A to
is-
Z from Atari 2600
That is
to
really
Zombie
cool.
Films.
Thanks, man. And you did not tell me
sure.
you were doing that beforehand.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
absolutely.
That's really
And
cool.
so that's already $5 of your money right back.
Yeah, because that
Yeah.
costs $5 for the digital
And
copy.
this
so-
book, it's self-published, but it's gotten a lot. I mean, just to pat my own back for a second, because nobody else will.
Nobody else
But
will.
seriously,
Don't dislocate your shoulder patting yourself on the back. I don't want any injuries.
But this book has been very well received,
Has
and
it?
it's not only for gamers. It's got 60 chapters.
Okay.
I should have brought a copy.
That would have
that would have really helped us, wouldn't it?
The visual, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
it's blue.
It's
the
blue,
cover's blue. I
and
remember
just
that.
look on Amazon. As a matter of fact, if you go to Amazon, put in my name, Brett Weiss, you can find my author page, and you can find all my books. So Retro Pop Culture A to Z, it's got chapters on Marilyn Monroe. It's got chapters on He-Man and the Masters of the Universe.
He-Man. Oh,
On
so great.
The Flash, Green Lantern, the Beatles. I mean, it's the whole spectrum of
Right.
retro pop culture.
Right.
And so Wonder Woman, the Hulk, all kinds of stuff.
That is one of your books I haven't read. I'm definitely going to
Yeah.
have to read it.
Well,
That's great.
donate $10 and you can get a
I
free
will.
digital
I
copy.
will.
And what I'll do is I will just Facebook you the PDF because it's too big to email.
Mhm.
And so so once you get the information, I can friend you on Facebook and I can just send
Yeah.
you the free PDF of the.
That's awesome.
So you'll have something to read while you're waiting for the promotion to end. And
That's
how
great.
many more days do people have?
We're gonna end on June 1st, which is when we launch the new website. So
Right.
we've got another 3 weeks or so.
And you can read, if you go to Amazon, put in Retro Pop Culture A to Z, you can read the first 2 or 3 chapters for free by clicking on the cover.
That's
So,
awesome. Thank
yeah.
you very much for doing that.
Certainly.
That's great. That's
it's a
great.
massive book. I mean, if you're in line somewhere, or if you're just, you're laying in bed at night and are just, you can't quite doze off, read this, and it will put you right to sleep.
Guaranteed to put you right to sleep.
Yeah, but
now, I'm not sure that your publisher would be real happy with that particular.
Well, I self-published it.
Oh, so you are the publisher.
Yeah, this is my
so
self-published book, and since I'm self-deprecating humor and Curtis deprecating humor are two of my favorite things.
Right, two of your favorite things.
I would throw that in.
Right, okay.
But anyway, so you're already getting half your value right back.
Well, that's great. Thank you for doing that, man.
No problem.
And right here as we wrap up, we obviously always wrap up with one of your show and tell segments. So what do you got today you want to talk about? We said it linked in with your T-shirt.
Well, I said I had some really incredible comic books to bring out, but like the retro pop culture book, I forgot to bring them. No, I didn't.
Man, that's a bummer. Oh, well, no,
I brought them.
As luck would have it, you got it right there.
Okay. As I've mentioned before, I'm a huge fan of The Flash, specifically the Barry Allen version.
Well, and we talked about The Flash last week. You said that would be your super, because not only can you run fast, but he can travel time, he can go through solid objects because he can vibrate.
And I'm really digging the new TV show.
Is it good? I haven't seen it yet.
It's very, very good.
I saw the crossover episode with Supergirl when he came to Supergirl.
Right,
because I've been watching Supergirl a lot because I'm Kryptonian.
That was a fun episode.
That was a good episode. So it did make me want to go and watch The Flash, which I needed to do. So.
Well, what I like about the Flash TV show, it's lighthearted. The DC movies are mostly so depressing and dark and everything. The Flash TV show has a nice lighthearted footage. Anyway, I've been a Flash fan way before then. Beginning in the 70s when I got a subscription to the comic.
Sure.
As a kid, I could only afford to subscribe to one comic. Batman had 2 titles. Superman had 2 titles. I didn't want to get one of them and feel like I was missing out.
Right.
Green Lantern was a strong potential. Wonder Woman was a girl book. I didn't want to get that. I didn't.
But you like girl characters. What about that?
I guess it was a playground thing. I couldn't say I subscribed to Wonder Woman. That
would
just be,
you would totally get. Yeah. It's bad enough that you subscribe to comic books, but a girl comic book.
Right. If anybody found that, I'd be torched. So anyway, I
yeah.
subscribed to the Flash. Became a massive fan. Of course, I watched him on Super Friends and all that stuff.
Right.
Anyway, so over the years, I've amassed an entire collection of Barry Allen Flash Silver Age comics from 105 to 350.
Right.
And if you don't know much about the Flash, issue number 105, which came out in the early 60s, is actually issue number 1. Because the golden age for the Flash, see, back then, number 1 issues weren't a thing that people cared about. Because the publisher, DC, would look, newsstand sales. If you dropped a number 1 issue, that wasn't what people flocked to. They wanted to see an issue a series that had been going on a long time to show that people liked it and cared about it.
Yeah, anyone can do a number 1. Right?
Yeah,
but
it was untested. It was untested, unproven.
Right.
And there was no such thing as nostalgia collectors or hot collector's item issues. None of that.
Right.
In the 1950s, 1960s, that wasn't a thing yet.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and so when the Golden Age Flash comic was canceled with issue number 104. And it was dormant for a while. It was the Jay Garrick Flash. Well, when they brought back the Silver Age of Superheroes, DC brought that back in the late 50s. They restarted, and then the early 60s, they restarted the Flash with issue number 105. Now, they tried him out in Showcase, which was like when they were bringing back the Silver Age of Superheroes, in Showcase number 4. That's the first appearance of Barry Allen Flash. Unfortunately, I don't have that. It's way out of my reach. Okay. I mean, it's worth tens of thousands of dollars.
Wow.
I mean, it's with Detective 27, first appearance of Batman, Action Comics number 1 with first appearance of Superman. A notch below that, you've got Showcase number 4, the first appearance of Barry Allen Flash. I mean, This is a major issue.
Yeah.
But I do have the first issue of the regular series of The Flash, which is number 105.
Right.
Like I mentioned. And that is, let's take a good look at it right here.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Now, I got this in the late 80s when it was a lot cheaper than it is now. It was still, worth some money.
So what's this worth now, probably?
It's worth, I didn't look up each issue to see what they were worth before the podcast, but it's worth several $1,000s, in nice condition. This one has a fair amount of wear, but it's definitely, as you can see by the cover, it looks pretty good.
Yeah, it does.
You have to look at it close to see the wear and tear.
Right.
But this is excellent. And I've got the Flash number 110, which is the first appearance of the Weather Wizard. You can see on the cover, it says Challenge of the Weather Wizard. Weather Wizard.
You're a writer, not a speaker.
Yeah. And if you've been watching Legends of the DC Universe, I think is the name of the show, that's got Weather Wizard.
DC Legends of Tomorrow. It doesn't have
Weather
Legends.
Wizard. Yeah, Legends of Tomorrow.
It has
Captain Cold.
Captain Cold
and Heatwave.
Yeah.
Well, Weather Wizard, like them, is one of the Flash's rogues galleries.
Yeah, one of the rogues. Yeah.
And so Weather Wizard really cool. That's the first appearance. And so I've also got the Flash number 123. This one's really in nice condition. This was the first appearance of Earth 2 in the DC universe, and this is the Flash of two worlds.
Right.
And this is really a key issue in the DC universe because it introduced the concept of two different Earths. The Earth 2 where the Golden Age heroes lived, and the regular Earth where, just the superheroes we know and love live.
Isn't it convenient to have multiple Earths? You can just kind of do whatever,
Well, what's funny was the concept of a multiverse was in DC Comics for decades, where scientists now are starting to
feel like with string theory and other things that might actually be a reality in some way.
There might actually be a multiverse. So
right.
Anyway, see what you can learn from comics.
Well, that's awesome. That's awesome, man. That's some good stuff. So thanks for everything today, man.
Oh, certainly.
How are you enjoying the podcast, man? I'm liking it. I'm really enjoying it.
Well, I don't enjoy listening to them, but I enjoy doing them.
Doing them. Right. No, totally.
No, seriously. No, I like to go back and listen to them too. It's
just
cool.
to
see how much we screwed up.
Right. See all the mess ups. Like last week, I said we did episode 7. That was actually episode 6.
Oh man,
so
yeah.
This is episode 7.
I could really count a lot of screw ups.
A lot of my mistakes. Yeah.
No,
totally.
But it's been a lot of fun, and I've gotten a lot of good feedback. Just from some friends and family members, and we've gotten some good comments.
Yeah.
There was one troll, but we won't talk about him.
No, we don't want to feed the troll. But
right.
No, but I think we're getting better at this at the internet. I think we're getting good at the internet.
Speaking of the internet, if you want to, if you're really into pop culture, not just video games,
right?
Check out my website. It's brettweisswords.com. There's links to articles about superheroes. There's stuff about music and collectibles and obviously video games.
How else can people reach you, Brett? We didn't talk about it.
If you get on Facebook, go to Classic Home Video Games. That's my Facebook page. Just if you could like Classic Home Video. I'm trying to get over 1,000. I'm at 800 and something right now. So if you could bump me up to 1,000, that would be freaking awesome. So just go to Classic Home Video Games.
Okay. And then you can also reach me, Outlaw Curtis, on the PlayStation Network, OUTLAWCURTIS on PSN. You can also reach me at outlawcurtis@gmail.com. And, of course, you can reach both of us at HoldSquare.com, which is our kind of headquarters here. So, again, thank you guys for watching. If you're enjoying the podcast, please do us a favor. Give us a subscribe and a like on our YouTube channel. That definitely helps us out quite a bit and helps us to continue to bring you more content.
And if you could share the link, that would even be better.
Oh,
that
yeah.
would be so awesome.
Share the link, via your Twitter account, via
I think
your
my
Facebook
mom
page.
shared the link. I think she might be the only one that's done that so far.
I think my mom has too, actually. Now that you mention that, I think it's both of our mothers. Our mom's great. See
Moms
the whole tie-in with Mother's Day?
I think they just feel sorry for us.
Yeah, please watch this, please. So, anyway, thanks again for watching, guys. I hope you guys enjoy Uncharted 4 tonight. Keep that in mind. 11 o'clock Central, midnight Eastern. You'll be able to download that, and there will be a lot of midnight launch parties and
I'll
stuff.
read about it in the morning.
You will read about it?
Yeah, I'll be sound asleep.
Because after you hit Luby's for dinner at 4, and then Murder, She Wrote is at 5, then Matlock is at 6, and then
I'm done.
You're in bed.
Right.
Okay, good. Well, thanks again for watching, guys. This is Outlaw Curtis coming to you from HoldSquare.com with my buddy Brett Weiss, and we'll see you next week.
Game on.